Today's episode is part 2 of a 4-part series doing a deep dive into the 4 major hotel brand awards programs. And today is all about Marriott, which is probably the one that everyone knows the best. It is the largest in the world. And so we are going to do a deep dive over the next 20 minutes or so. Let's go. Hi, I'm Rhea.
And I'm Dwayne.
And we are your hosts of the Travel Party of 5 podcast, where we share how we travel as a family of 5 around the world.
We will also share how we use points and miles to travel as affordably as possible and sometimes even completely free.
So if you're wanting to travel more with your family, but you're not sure how, we'd love for you to listen in.
So welcome to our podcast, where we hope you learn a thing or two to get you closer to your next trip.
Hello, and welcome back to Travel Party of 5 podcast.
Welcome back. We appreciate you listening in.
I think this is our 20th episode, I'm pretty sure. And before we dive into today's main topic, which is all about all things Marriott, or Marriott, I guess we can debate how to say it. I do want to just quickly ask, if you are listening to this and you do not follow us on Instagram, I started a new Instagram account about a month ago specifically for this podcast and sharing tips about points and miles, and currently sitting at 49 followers, and would really appreciate it if you don't already follow us there, if you would take just 20 seconds out of your day to go over to Instagram and give us a follow. That would be much appreciated, as I've been putting a lot of work into it. So thank you very much in advance. Okay. Is it Marriott or Marriott?
I don't think I've ever heard Marriott.
I'm pretty sure it's Marriott, actually, but everyone says it wrong, and I'm going to continue to say it wrong because I believe that Marriott just sounds more fun. Okay, so here's the deal. Marriott is the largest hotel chain in the world. If you have never heard of it, you're probably living under a rock. I think they have 8,700 properties across 30 different brands, 139 countries, and some of the more well-known brands are going to be like Courtyard, Spring Hill Suites, Residence Inns, and then some of the ones that maybe you didn't know were owned by Marriott, which Dwayne just learned today, actually.
The Ritz-Carlton.
Yep, the Ritz-Carlton,
Yep.
the St. Regis, the W hotels,
Westin, Gaylord Hotels.
Yep.
Also the JW Marriott, which, yeah.
I mean, yeah. So again, similar to IHG last week, these hotels run the gamut from your basic, accommodations up to like super luxury. You want to talk about the different Marriott status levels? Probably just like lowest to highest, what they are.
Yeah, so there's 6. The lowest would be Member, then Silver Elite, then Gold Elite, Platinum Elite, Titanium Elite, and then Ambassador Elite.
Marriott has so the Ambassador is interesting because it's the only status level that has like a monetary spend involved plus a qualifying night thing. So you need to get, for that, you need to have 100 nights plus at least $23,000 in spend.
That's a lot of nights.
Yeah. So the way that you can earn Marriott points, they probably have the most co-branded cards available of any hotel or airline that I've seen. So we're not going to list them all because there's at least 6 or 7, if not more. And that would be a really boring podcast. But I am going to list a couple that are, in my opinion, the most popular from what I see other travelers and points and miles people posting about and using. We do not have any of these cards. So let me preface that, at least at this point. But there is a card that's been on my radar for a while, and we'll get into that.
So the first card would be the Marriott Bonvoy Boundless card, which comes with a $95 annual fee. The current sign-up bonus is you earn 3 free nights after spending $3,000 on purchases in the first 3 months of opening the account. Sometimes this is 5 free nights, and that's what I would wait for this card.
Yeah, so if this card is on your radar, a couple of times a year, it seems to be, they elevate the offer to where you get 5 free nights instead of 3. And so that's what I would do if you have a plan for those 5 free nights, because they expire after 1 year. So it's really important to have a plan for them before you apply for the card. And I do have a suggestion on how I would use them, and we'll talk about that at the end. You do get Marriott Silver Elite benefits with this card, which is, if you remember, it's only their second level. So it's like one up from the bottom. You get 15 Elite Night credits, which is only important if you're, again, going for status. And then you do get a free night award every year on your account anniversary. But that only has a value of up to 35,000 points, which is kind of low.
You have 15 nights? That's crazy.
Yeah, well, yeah. This next card gets way more. So, okay, so the next card is the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant American Express card. Now, who sat down in a room and came up with the names of these credit cards is beyond me, because so far we have the Boundless and the Brilliant, and there are also other cards that have very similar names. It is so hard to keep them straight. Like, it's just silly. But I digress. Okay, so the annual fee on this card is really high. It's $650. But before you turn off or go to the next podcast, I promise you there's a reason. So the current sign-up bonus on this card is 185,000 Marriott points after you spend $6,000 within the first 6 months. So normally it's 3 months, and you have 6 months to do this. So doable. You again get Platinum Elite status. So like this is fourth.
The fourth tier, yep.
Yep. So 2 down from the highest you can be. So that's a little better than the previous card. You again get a free night award every year after your first card anniversary. And this can be used for 1 night at any property that is at or under 85,000 points a night. So that's a big upgrade from the previous card, which, if you remember, was just 35,000 points a night. So that is one reason for this high annual fee. And that is what makes this card super valuable, even with it being so high. So, for example, you can book a free night at an overwater bungalow at the JW Marriott in the Maldives with this 85,000 point certificate. So if you and your spouse both had the card, yes, that is 2 annual fees, but that's also 2 free nights at an overwater bungalow in the Maldives. Like, that's crazy. Plus you have the sign up points to get, I don't know, a couple more free nights if you want them. You also get up to $300 in statement credits per calendar year, which is, I think, $25 a month. For restaurant purchases, they have to be eligible restaurants, so you have to see if you normally eat at those. If you don't, that's kind of a wash. And then you get 25 qualifying nights towards elite status if you have this card. And you can stack this with the 15 nights from the previous card, but that's the most you can get, and you have to have this card in order to be able to stack them, if that makes sense. So you could start your year off, if you were going for Marriott status, with 40 qualifying nights.
Which is a lot.
If you had these 2 cards, yeah. But again, you have to have this high annual fee card in order to be able to stack them. And then I think you also get like $100 property credit for qualifying charges at the Ritz, Carlton, or a St. Regis. But you have to pay cash for those stays. You have
Which
to
wouldn't go far at those places.
Right, exactly. And you have to pay cash for the stays, and you have to stay at least 2 nights. So that's like, if this were me, I probably would never use that credit. So when I was calculating if the annual fee made sense, I wouldn't factor that part in. So those are, I know we only talked about 2 cards, but there are other articles, like NerdWallet has really good ones detailing all the cards that you can get Marriott points for. And if Marriott is like, if you are a Marriott stan and this is your hotel, like, by all means search that up. I think where Marriott shines is they have a huge footprint. They're literally the largest hotel chain in the world. So there's going to be a lot of options pretty much wherever you want to go. You want to share about?
With that being said, unfortunately, Marriott, they still charge you for resort and parking fees on award nights at properties, that charge them. And these fees are not waived, and they can be as low as $20 a night, but they can go up to $100 per night, which is, which adds up.
Yeah. So last week we talked about IHG and how they charge the resort fee, and Marriott is the same. So Hyatt is the only one, to my knowledge, that does not charge any resort fees on award
which
stays.
Is nice.
That's great. Okay, so let's get into the fun part, which is like the actual stays and stuff. So I have an upcoming stay for work at the Dolphin Hotel in Orlando, and I'm going for a conference. So obviously I'm not paying and I'm not using points or anything. My company is paying for it. But this hotel is right next to Disney World, and it is a Marriott property. So this would be an excellent use of those 5 free night certificates. So the 5 free nights are valued at up to $50,000 per night. So if there's a Marriott hotel that is 50,000 points a night or less, you can use your free night certificate there. And you're also allowed to top it off with up to 15,000 additional points of your own points if you have them. So really, you can use these free night certificates as long as it's 65,000 points or less a night. And so you could stay 5 nights at Disney for almost free. You would just have to pay the resort fee. And that would be one of the ways that I would use those 5 nights.
Yeah, because that could cost an enormous amount of money.
Yes. And I looked, and they had some nights that were like 53,000 a night. So, and I think I was looking in like September maybe, which is not very far from now, a few months, 5 months away. So I'm sure if you booked well in advance, you could absolutely find 4 or 5 nights in a row to use those up. And so that's how I would do it. And I think another alternative would be to use them on a trip to Asia. Hotels tend to be cheaper in Asia, and there were quite a few options to use the $50,000 certificates there as well. Okay. I was looking up like aspirational Marriotts, and I think I found one that takes the cake for any hotel brand anywhere in the entire world. You want to talk about it?
You're talking about the JW Marriott Masai Mara?
Masai Mara, yes.
And that is in
Kenya. Africa.
Yeah, you can take safaris and
yes.
And that's through the hotel?
Yeah, so this is okay, let me give you like a rundown, because we actually didn't talk about this before, and I probably should have sent you the website because it is stunning. So, okay, the JW Marriott Masai Mara Lodge is in Kenya. It's in the famous Masai Mara National Reserve. It just opened last year, and it is bookable on points. So literally you can book an African safari on points. It is an all-inclusive property.
Oh, wow.
So I searched for February 2025, and I found nights as low as 106,000 points and as high as 150,000 points a night for 2 adults. They have restrictions for kids under the age of 6. So this is not something that we could do as a family right now because our youngest is 4. So we're a couple years out. But again, those points rates are all inclusive. So you get all your accommodation and meals across the board, most alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages, game drives. So this is where you're going out looking for animals. You get a pair of binoculars to use during your stay. There's Wi-Fi. It also includes airstrip transfers from the Kiko Rock airstrip. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And you get 5 items of laundry per person per day, and it includes all taxes.
So when you say 5 pieces of laundry per person per day, is that like a shirt, pants, underwear, 2 pairs of socks, and one other thing? Or is that 5?
I mean, I feel like that's 5 if you're counting the socks. I don't know. I don't know. But that's what it says on their website. And so I'm pretty sure this is the only place bookable with points for an African safari. Now, here's something to note. The rooms say that they sleep 3 people. Okay. But that points price, so let's say the 106,000 points per night, is only for 2 people. So if you add a third person, which there is room for, when you go to pay, it's going to say that you owe 106,000 points plus like $2,300 because you're paying for the extra person fee. So it is worth noting that while the rooms do sleep 3, most of them, the points price is based on an occupancy of 2. And if you have 3 people, you're going to pay for that extra person out of pocket. I mean, this hotel looks like an African safaris was not even on my radar until I saw this. And now I like have to go there, but we can't take the kids. They're too little. So I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. It's also very difficult to get to, from what I understand. You have to fly to Nairobi and then take like 2 or 3 more planes.
At least a day trip.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I mean, yeah, it looks amazing. So definitely a bucket list trip. And I mean, if you opened if you just opened the 2 cards that we talked about, you could get, let's see, 185,000 points. Well, I guess that would really only get you probably 2 nights there. You'd have to open a few cards and be prepping for this for a while. But I mean, well worth it. What an experience, you know?
Yeah. Did you see how much like the rooms cost without points? Yes.
So on the same night, which was like February of 2025, the cheapest that I found was around $2,600 per night.
Eesh.
And that's, again, for an occupancy of 2 people.
That's a lot.
Yeah. If you do the occupancy for 3 people, it's $4,800, which is almost double. That's so crazy. That's so interesting. So I guess 2 people is the way to go. I think they only want 2 people in a room. It must be. But yeah, that's an incredible amount of money per night. But I mean, what an experience, you know?
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Okay. If you have any Marriott properties, Marriott, whatever, that you really...
No one says Marriott.
I promise you, if you like look up the Google pronunciation, like it's Marriott. Anyways, if you have a favorite Marriott that is really fun for kids, definitely send it our way. And again, if you can follow us on Instagram at Travel Party of 5, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much. We will catch you on the next one.
Have a good one.